Hello, everyone. It's really cool to chat with you today.
Pleasure.
Hi.
So, I'm going to start with something simple, starting with Amelia. How would you describe your characters? What did you think of them?
She just cares a lot about the people in her life. She's a very loyal friend, tries to be really a good friend, but she's just got a lot going on. So she's a little stressed and just trying to juggle a lot of things. But yeah, as the show goes on, I think you see a nice change in her where she really starts to consider what are the things that she wants to do, like for herself, not necessarily as a responsibility to others. So she has a really nice arc.
Very cool. Jennifer, how would you describe Becca?
Becca is smart. She knows what she wants and she knows how to get it. And she's used to getting what she wants. And I think that's why she is constantly looking for a new challenge, the next adventure. She doesn't really think about consequences at the beginning of the season. But I think throughout the season, you get to see her become more vulnerable and find her truth a bit more and start, I guess, caring more through her actions for the people around her. And she's passionate and she's charming, but she also has quite a few flaws as well, like any human.
Of course. Richard, Trist is described as a guy with connections at one point. How would you describe him?
I would describe him as a mystery man. I mean, I would describe him as a lot of things, but that's the cool thing about the characters. It's not important what his truth is. There is no truth to who Trist is because he's portrayed completely through two different perspectives that have nothing to do with what really is going on with him on the inside. That has nothing to do with anything. It's more to do with what he represents to Zoe and Rebecca, those two characters, which was a great, very fun challenge for me. But if you want to get to know Trist a little bit more, there is, further into the season, I think you find out a little bit more about the truth and what he's actually after in his life and what motivates him. But I won't give that away now.
Well, David, for you creating this, what was the inspiration for this story and what made you choose that this story was going to be told from different perspectives, at least at the beginning?
Yeah, no, I mean, thematically, I always wanted to tell the story of two lifelong best friends who have known each other since a very young age, and just kind of exploring everything that goes with that friendship. And then I just wanted to see kind of how much you could throw at that friendship until it might break or what it can take. And then, getting more into kind of the crime side of things and the fake ID of it all, I did know that there would kind of be, some instant where things go a bit sideways between them. And then to me, it just felt like, well, what if they each had a different take on what that looks like? And, if they're each kind of competing with each other, that they want the audience to trust their side of the story. And then, to me, it felt like the best way to do that is with fourth wall breaks and having these unreliable narrators. And that kind of really excited me because that was something that I hadn't seen before. And that just felt like the perfect way into the story and to explore character where you really don't know who to trust because each girl is trying to make themselves look better in their story.
Well, at the same time, then what was it like bringing Amelia, Richard, and Jennifer into this? And how did you reconcile with them this vision you have and then working with them? What did they bring to it?
Everything. It wouldn't exist. Like they truly, they brought these characters to life in ways that I couldn't even imagine. I mean, it's just like, they fell into it perfectly too, just even in terms of the nuances of all of their performances between the POV. It's little things that might not even be the differences I made in the writing, but just even in tone of voice or certain mannerisms that you know, when I was going through the dailies and even in the cuts, it's like, oh my God, like that's consistency. Like, okay, we're in Becca's episode, so she's doing this, but it's like, yeah, I think it's just like, it's the richness of the characters and kind of layering all those pieces together to really sell the alternate POVs that goes beyond what I can achieve in the writing. That it's just part of the collaborative process.
Well, Emilija and Jennifer, you know, for you two playing these characters, what did you think kept them connected? Because at the beginning, it certainly seems like Zoe certainly is invested more in the friendship in some ways, at least from Zoe's perspective, it seems like that. What would you say about their relationship, their friendship up until this, you know, first and second episode?
Well, I mean, they've known each other since they were like in a ballet class together. So like very, very young. And even though, I mean, they're completely different people, they've grown together, and their friendship is actually really beautiful because they do balance each other out. The things that, you know, parts of Rebecca that Zoe can't relate to, she actually admires a lot about Rebecca and wishes maybe she was more like that herself. So I think that they, you know, have supported and inspired each other up until maybe some stuff starts going sideways.
Yeah, when shit gets a little sucky.
Yeah, I think that some things get in the way a little bit, and they've perhaps lost sight of that. Or, you know, they just have, they're just growing into two different people, and they have different goals and just different paths.
Mm-hmm. At the start of the season, I think their friendship is, I mean, I think Rebecca definitely does lean on and depend on Zoe quite a bit. But I also feel like Rebecca, on the flip side, also admires Zoe for some qualities that she doesn't necessarily have. And I think that their friendship is beautiful because they've known each other for so long. They've kind of, they can finish each other's sentences. They know what each other like needs. They're like sisters. And it's so nice to see a relationship like that on screen between two teenage girls that like isn't like catty about boys or anything like that. They truly do care deeply for each other and know each other so well.
Well, and the thing I love too is getting into episode 2 from Becca's perspective. And this is back to the performances, the fact that everyone's a little bit more energized in Becca's view of the world. I just kind of love that take for all of you, you know, performing in this kind of back and forth performance wise. What was it like getting into that?
Oh God, it was amazing. That's the most, I keep saying it, it's the most fun thing to do is have that lack of continuity for an actor. You just get to like, I just change it completely, because why not? It's a completely different truth that we're telling. It shares certain things, but like really you can do whatever you want with it. And it's so freeing. It's completely freeing. Very
playful and collaborative experience for me. And it's awesome being able to play the same scene but slightly different in like a different perspective. And you know, sometimes it got a little confusing, but we had a really great support system on set, like David and Tabby had to like keep us on track, and just it was so much fun. And
and because we all, I mean, clicked so well too, I feel quickly were able to build this relationship of trust and also check in with each other, depending on the episode or whose perspective we're in, you know, just making sure like, is this would you agree that your character would perceive my character?
Yeah, like this.
Yeah. And so that was also really fun. It wasn't, I mean, to what Richard is saying, I mean, usually you have a, continuity of your character that you maintain, but it was fun to go back and forth and kind of think about as an actor, like, oh, okay, so I'm in Rebecca's perspective. So Zoe is going to be a little, maybe more loose. Like, what does that look like for Zoe? So that was really fun.
Well, for all of you, I know Jasmine Mozaffari worked on the series as a director, and her film Firecrackers is phenomenal. What did she bring to the show as a director and a collaborator? Because her vision is amazing.
She set the tone for us perfectly. So she directed the first 4 episodes. And right off the bat, one thing that she asked for that I think was very smart was just rehearsal time for Jen and Emilija to meet each other actually physically in person before we started shooting, because the casting process was all over Zoom. They didn't have a chance to meet one another. But no, I mean, in terms of the kind of the POVs of it all, we would have in prep, tone meetings that would go for hours just talking about, okay, like how are we really going to be able to visually differentiate these perspectives, from down to lens treatments to color correction to just framing. And it's all these kind of little things that at the end of the day kind of add up to the larger experience of the episodes feeling different. But yeah, no, she was such a fantastic creative partner on this.
That's cool. Well, did your vision for the story, just talking about the fact that obviously it has fairly dark edges and fairly serious and realistic elements to it as well. How did you find that balance, I guess, between what was going to be the lightheartedness of the series and what was going to be the heavier bits?
It needed to feel real for me. Like we couldn't just throw a joke in there for the sake of trying to make the audience laugh. And I think a lot of the humor would just come from who these characters are and the situations they find themselves in and how they respond to it. But I think, to your point, like the darker threats or even just the more dramatic storylines, with their families, I think that needed to be treated with seriousness and feel real and feel genuine as it does for the characters. So, I mean, that was kind of how we found the balance. It really is, it's a comedy drama, but, we never kind of cheapen a more emotional moment for a quick laugh. Like, I think it just had to feel rooted in who these two young women are and kind of what their experience is. And just, when you have friends that know each other that long, it's not hard to find moments that they are both going to have fun and, enjoy themselves as well.
Yeah, I just want to add to the fact that, like, when I first read the script, I had never, it was really awesome because I felt like, wow, like what a story that has so, like, it's just so unbelievably funny and witty, but at the same time, like so full of heart. And it's just, I felt like it was like heartwarming and heartbreaking all at the same time. And I think that's really, really special. Good job, David.
Can't take all the credit. I can't.
It works so well, like the balance between the episodes and the seriousness. And I mean, even the way the first episode ends with this kind of like, no, wait, that's not it. There's just a great balance. Speaking about episodes and the whole scenes and everything, what were some of your favorite episodes or scenes to work on? Was there something that stood out in particular? Because you all get to do some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
It's always the hardest question to answer.
I mean, that one's the easiest for me. I won't give the reasons why, but 5 is my favorite episode. Like, it's not close.
It's a selfish reason, but yeah.
Selfish acting.
Call him out.
Emilija, do you have a fave?
I can't pick a favorite.
I know, me neither.
I love the finale. Watching the finale, I absolutely love.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
The finale was special because, it all comes to fruition, and it's crazy pants in the best way. It's very cuckoo bananas, as the end of the season gets. And that's always just so fun to shoot. I mean,
Yeah.
such a great time. But there are little tidbits of every episode that I feel like are so precious and special to my heart. So that's my generic answer.
I would
Great
agree.
one.
But also the scenes that were part of our audition scenes, that was just really, when we shot those, that felt really surreal. So I would maybe choose those when it came to life and actually seeing it.
That makes a lot of sense. That would be special because it's actually like you've finally willed it into reality.
Yes.
Yeah. So we had like, we did it like so many times, and then
you earned it. Yeah.
Yeah. To shoot it was surreal and cool.
Yeah.
Whose perspective did you audition with? Was that in play at the time, or was it just a scene?
It was pieces of both.
I think so.
It was but we didn't really. It was their monologues respectively from each episode, which was, and then
the field scene.
More the field scene, but we didn't really get into like your and Rebecca's perspective. So play it this way. It was more
general
the
kind
two
of
of
thing,
them together, I suppose. Yeah.
Well, and otherwise, what was the location like? Because we don't get that many shows filmed for the town they're actually in. So what was that like?
It was a blast. It was just so cool to again have Vancouver be able to play itself. Some of my favorite nights were shooting like at Ambleside in West Van, kind of going to the same beach that I'd go to as a kid. And John Lawson Park. We had a whole day at Stanley Park as well, which was just really cool. So again, you don't get that opportunity very often, and it's such a beautiful city. It's nice to actually be able to show that on screen and have it proudly be itself and not generic North American city number one. I don't know. It was fun.
Well, thank you all so much for the time. It was awesome chatting. The series is phenomenal. I can't wait to see the second half, and thanks so much.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you too. Have a great day.